Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rakakatash, the water, Yahawah, the water, Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Slaki, Yahawah, for my sin that I Yahawah, for your mercy all the time. Call Lord Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, water, Yahawah, for your mercy all the time. Call Lord Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. Shalom, shalom. It's your brother, Obadiah Yahawah Canaan. And I want to wish everyone a blessed, safe, and worship and praising Shabbat going into the day of At-ONE-MENT with YAHAWAH, Bahasham Yahawashi, as many say Atonement. Gonna break it down today. And got a lesson that's going to be when the Most High comes upon me, as he dwells in me and his spirit wells up in me to give a lesson that is so fortified with the manna of higher level knowledge and exhortation to Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. I so humbly love him and always try to do as best I can, which I never can do enough. I never believe that I've ever been able to do enough, no matter what the situation is. I have so much more that I have to do for the Most High Yahawah in the name of his son Yahawashi. And if we ever get to the point where we feel like we've arrived or we've done enough or we're doing enough, then that arrogancy prevents you from being a good and proper servant. You notice that in the Bible, in the book of remembrance, the Torah, the Pentateuch, all of what we understand as being our book of the truth, not given to any other nation, not given to anyone in any capacity other than given to the chosen people of the Most High. We have this tendency to misinterpret the onpouring and the outpouring of the Most High's love, which is his entire word, which we get spiritual blockage based on the fact that some of us are given to election and some of us are given to become part of the election, and some of us are given to be none of the election, but that is the Most High's predetermined process from the beginning, in which he decided he has done and he's going to do. We don't have any power or control over that. And we have to recognize the fact that what he's asking is it's deeper than what we can imagine. And when he gave me the understanding of the infinitive stamp that he put on all creation, if you can receive it, it's a stamp of the love. I'm sorry, I'm very emotional about this situation, but it's a stamp of love that is what we are trying to understand about the Father. That's why his ways are not our ways and his thoughts are not our thoughts, because what we understand or believe is what he's asking for in terms of the love he wishes to receive from the infinitive stamp of creation towards our salvation for eternal life, is beyond what we know, but we can try to aspire to learning it based on the idea that he's given us to follow the clues that he's put forth since the many times that we've had the chance to be regenerated here. We don't know how many times our spirit has been regenerated here. We don't have any idea. We don't know. We can't surmise that that's the case. We don't get that information. But the unction that he gives us in the deja vu moments that he gives us, as I said so many times before in lessons that the Most High has had me do for him, we're supposed to pick up on the clues so that we won't get abused. But some of us are predetermined to not pick up on these clues, and our circle of sacrifice, which is also another lesson, is becoming very much apparent and smaller in scope. We all have to give up a circle of sacrifice before we leave here. It doesn't matter what particular portion of who you claim to think you are, whether you are a named individual to be a chosen vessel of the Most High, or whether you are a 2/3 or a heathen or whatever. We will give up a circle of sacrifices to this flesh before we leave here in any capacity. And the circle of sacrifice has a lot of derivatives to it in terms of what you are and who you are, as far as what you do. And you can see it becomes very, very apparent in terms of the way that people present what portions of the truth that they believe that they are understanding. And it comes through in many ways. And I'm going to go into this a little bit more. I got a few more things I want to say in the commentary in reference to where this goes. I want to get salutations out to all of the men and women of the Lord who have been diligently trying to stay the course as the things become more apparent as far as the tribulation moving forward, all of the prophecies that are being unraveled and put forth towards us, that we have to go through them. If you are selected or elected, no matter what, you will still have to, at some point, be addressed by the prophecies that are going to come down as they are coming down. Unless you're no longer here in the flesh and the Father takes you to the spirit world, you will and you have to address these prophecies. Just like I said, you have to be addressed before you put to rest. Another lesson, you look it up for yourself. But I want to give salutations to all the elect and all of the hopeful elect and all of the 1/3 and all of those that are going to come out of this from the Most High's hand. You know, the men who were selected to bring forth this portion of the awakening and the truth that's following, the select that could be elect or could be hopeful elect, the men who have been a foreshadow of the movement that's bigger than a movement, these apostles that have come out. I mean, I've watched the apostles for quite some time, before I was even released to do any kind of teaching as a servant. I would never claim any other title, nor would I think that the Father would give me any other title. That's why the name is as it is. So I have to praise and sing to the Lord, because that's what he's asking for. But anyway, I want to just make sure I give my salutations to those apostles of Great Millstone. They have the level of accuracy that was given to them, and they're using that level of accuracy to the best of their ability. Many people call it percent of understanding and truth. I say what the Lord tells me to say is they have the level of accuracy that the Lord has given them at the level of information that was provided to them that they have. And that is enough and as much as what should be given at this time, and until any more is given. We can go to the second Ezra chapter 14 and look at what Ezra did in terms of 204 books. I don't know where they are. We don't know. Only the Most High knows. We have what we have. The worthy and the unworthy have gotten the books that are out, and we see what they've done with them, and we see what we've done with them in terms of what the Most High has programmed and allowed us to do. We know that the heathen, the law is not for them. It's not about them. They play a very small part, like a drop that falleth from a vessel, as far as this situation is concerned, roughly paraphrased. But I'm just going to say that, they're operating under giving you the sacred name. They stay diligent to the sacred name. They don't deviate. They give disclaimers. They tell you that the fake JC name is what it is. It's idolatry, it's blasphemy. And for you to incorporate it in any capacity into any of your lessons without disclaiming that that they ignorantly say that name, or that it is not the sacred name, because no one has the authority to change the sacred name or anything of that fashion. They stay diligently to that prospect and that prosper in terms of the work. Nobody's perfect. None of us are. I like when the fact that, Apostle Gabar has said that they strive for humility as best they can, and they don't really want anyone to look at them as though they are on a pedestal or that they should be worshipped or anything of that nature. And I respect that when he said that, because that breeds and bleeds humility, but it has to be retroactively promoted throughout all of this truth. Okay, the Most High deserves more than 3 or 4 seconds of all praises to the Most High, and then you go into your rendition and your spiel and your mantras or whatever else you're saying, that you're giving all this other praise and worthy and honor to whoever and whatever. Look, I'm just saying, I'm going to worship the Most High like David did, okay? One thing I noticed that in the Bible, in the Word, anybody that did anything for the Most High directly and was involved with him in terms of how he responded to them, it came through praise, worship, and prayer. Damn. Okay. I'm trying to stay at 1 minute with the Father on this day of atonement, as people call it. So I'm just going to praise, worship, and pray that he keeps me not triggered and calm by a lot of what's going on. Again, I will reiterate, every one of the men of the Lord that did anything for the men of the Lord had an enormous amount of praise, worship, and prayer. The lesson that the Father had me do on PWP, praise, worship, and prayer. What is your grade level? To the Most High. Not to anyone else, not to any organization, not to any church, any camp, or any person. What is your praise, worship, and prayer level? This is very important. And if the Most High's got people and men of the Lord or whoever blocked to this here, if they feel in some way they're doing enough and they don't have to praise, worship, and prayer, if they think for some reason that because the wacky-tacky Christians are praising and worshiping a false, blasphemous, idolatrous practice, that the men of the Lord should not sing and praise the Father. I ain't saying you got to get out there and do some stupid ass dance, okay? That's not what I'm talking about. But praising and worshiping to the Father openly is more, he says. It's a higher level of love than just when I do lessons. Yes, I'll go out. Yes, I'll do lessons. Yes, but is that the highest love that the Father wants? Is that it? Are we telling him that what we're doing is enough? I never think that I'm doing enough. Even when I'm doing what I can do or what he allows me to do, it's still not enough. But I know that the key is praise, worship, and prayer. It's not just prayer. And it's interesting that all through the Bible, this is said. And even when the men of the Lord read about the praising that David did, the worshiping that Isaiah and Ezekiel and all of the apostles and the prophets were doing, they always praise and worship the Father. And we say we want a crown. We say we want Yahawashi to come down and place these crowns on the head of the men who cried and sighed for Yahawashi. But what the men who already had crowns, what did they do? They took them off. They sat on thrones. They're sitting on thrones. And they put these crowns at the feet of Yahawashi, and they praised and worshiped him. Because that's what the Father's looking for, a higher love. It's not what we think it is. And the Day of Atonement is not what we think it is. It's at one mint. And I'm going to break it down for you, because I don't think they get it. That's like what he says, the fullness of the Gentiles must come in. What does that mean? What? That their flesh has to wake up? No. It's a mindset of knowing that you got to give the Father the highest love more than anything. His love has to be higher than anything you can imagine, anything that you could think of. This is how you get to at-one-ment with the Most High. Afflicting your soul? Yes. We're afflicted all the time in this fallen state. We're in a fallen state here at this time. The law that Yahawah is that love. That law, he adjusted the love. It's his love. It's his law. He made it adjustable for us in the flesh right now to try to learn how to love him. We don't know how to love him. We don't know. How do you know how to love the Most High? Tell me how you, okay, well, let me go to 1 John chapter 5, talk about the love of the Lord is what? To keep his commandments. Okay, so what's the first commandment? First commandment is what? You can't have no other God, no other Father, no other power other than Yahawah. So if you are not giving him the highest love, you already breaking that commandment, which means you broke all the rest of them too. You gotta get this. Everything he created worships and praises him. Everything he created worships and praises him to the degree of what it is and how it was created. That's what it was made for. That's what he said in Scripture. He made you for his pleasure, which means his worship. Okay, the case in time, and case in point, when Joshua and when Moses and when the children of Israel coming out of Egypt and Yahawashi and firstborn were being slaughtered because that was prophesied to happen right out of the mouth of the heathen, right? Joshua was at the door, opened the door, and he was looking out as the death angel was going around slaughtering. All of what you see happening right now. What did Moses tell him? Close the door, Joshua. Come inside as we worship the Lord and praise. And they were in there singing. And then they were in there praising while the death angel all around was destroying everything the Most High told him to destroy. This is what you're getting ready to deal with at a major level. This is going to be higher than anything you can imagine. That's why you say Jacob's trouble, but you could be saved out of it. But you got to close the door and get at one-ment with the Most High. Afflicting souls. You want to afflict your soul? As the Lord told me to tell you, your soul's afflicted all the time, every day in this fallen state. Your water's polluted. Your food's polluted. Your air's polluted. Your mind's polluted. Everything that you do and do here, like in Deuteronomy chapter 28:48, you're in want of all things to your enemy. So you're completely afflicted and conflicted all the time here, all the time, every day, every second. You don't own anything. Everything you got to pay back to the puppet who's being puppet mastered by the Most High. You don't own anything. But what do? You sit around and you say, yes, you must believe, and this is true, you better, or you're not scheduled to be believers. Pray without ceasing, Bible says. But why did you forget about the open worship and praise? Oh, you're too proud. You're too strong. You're such a man. You can't do that. Well, guess what? Isolation, tribulation's coming. And you're going to find out if you don't have that first love, like Yahawashi said in 2939 in Revelation, you lost your first love, which is the Most High himself. Everything rolls back to him. He's foundational. He controls it all. He controls everything that's going on, Yahawashi and the light. No power is given unto anything or anyone unless it comes directly out of the Father, down through Yahawashi, and then managed throughout the process. If you don't get this understanding, you cannot get to become at one-ment with the Most High. You can't. It's just not going to be possible. And you're going to be lost in this situation. At one-ment, Bahasham, Yahawashi, had me break this down. I'm sorry. Forgive me, I get emotional about this situation. You know, it's just, I do. Because I love the Most High so much. So that's what happens. When I was breaking, Father had me break down at one-ment. Okay? When, you know, break down the Hebrew letters and go through the language, and you get to letter A, you know, that was that ox type symbol that was made up, you know. Then, of course, you know, you got your T for at, which is sort of similar to, you know, that cross, and, you know, also another symbol. At, A-T. Breaking it down, it came through with strength and the leader. The leader who's giving strength. Who is the strengthful leader? Who is the leader with strength? No one but the Father through the Son. The T for in at was symbol of a mark or a sign, or also the covenant, just like the YAHAWAH that we talk about. And then one, at AT, at one. The one represents the Father himself. He is the only one. He is the one. He is looking for you to give him the highest love that you can imagine and that you could understand through the clues he's given you in the metabolism that he's built in the creation that you are, with that infinitive stamp. The highest love you can muster out of all of what he's put in you is what he's looking for from you. And then the word ment, M-E-N-T, that follows down through the covenant and a covering. The initial Hebrew meaning of that root word, right? Because they think the small has called it Yom Kippur, but that's not the way it goes. That KPR, which is Yom Kippur. It comes from, actually, it means to cover. Original Hebrew name for the mercy seat, okay? The mercy seat that covered, that was on the Ark of the Covenant. The mercy seat that covered the Ark of the Covenant, right? Which would also in the Hebrew language, kaparat, the kaparat, right? And that's the covering. So the ment, or the at-one-ment, through you, where you have the strength of the leader in the A, with the T, which gives you the mark of the YAHAWAH, that brings you a covenant that he started with you for the love that is the one, number one, which is the Most High, the Father. So at one-ment, M-E-N-T, which also is completing the what? The continuous covering of that infinitive stamp that is the covering, that is the seat, the mercy seat, the Ark of the Covenant, and the covering for eternal existence that will allow you that infinitive stamp that will continue to let you live forever under the Most High's love, the highest love that you don't even understand because you don't know how to love him. You try to love him through your organizations. You try to love him through the things that you think you're doing for him. What does it mean to the Father as far as atonement is concerned? What does he want? He told you, and we're going to read about it what the Day of Atonement is for us, but what is it for him? How does that at-one-ment work for the Most High? How do you become back to that at-one-ment with him? Okay? This is something that I don't believe we have any kind of grasp or understanding of. We say Day of Atonement, but it is a day of at-one-ment to go and be back with our Creator, with the Father. That's what this is supposed to be about. What is it for him? What does the Most High get out of it? Okay, when I take you to this scripture, and I'm gonna take you there quick, and then I'm gonna go into more scriptures, but I need to make sure you understand that you don't know how to love him. You love everything else stronger than him because that's what you show. It's what you do and it's what you show. Because if you really feared him, you would fear that you don't love him enough. That's the real fear of the Most High, Yahawah. You don't love him enough. If you love him enough, you would not do anything to be in front of him. Nothing would be in front of him. You would praise and worship him openly because you fear not loving him enough. That's what you don't understand. Isaiah chapter 53. Where my glasses at? Let me read it. And I'm going to start at 6 first. All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned everyone to his own way. And Yahawah hath laid on him the iniquity of us all. When he laid this on Yahawashi, from the foundation of the world, when he was pulled out of Yahawah and created, he was already determined to come and do all of this. That cup is the cup that Yahawah needs. That love is what he's looking for. He wants the highest love possible than anything, small, big, large, in between. You got to give him that love. That's what he's looking for. Going down to 11. He shall see of the travail of his soul and shall be satisfied. This is Yahawah talking about what he's going to see from the love that's coming from his son who created as an example, which you're supposed to be following as mirroring the Mashiach, but you don't do it. You mirror men. You worship men. You follow men in that way. You don't give the Most High the highest love. You know you don't. You barely reverence him. Yahawashi came here in the name of his Father to do his Father's will, not anybody else's will. I'll read it again. He shall see the travail of his soul. He's talking about what Yahweh's saying. And shall be satisfied. Is he satisfied with your at-one-ment, at your atonement? Do you think he is? If he's satisfied with your atonement, and all the afflictions you go through all the time, every day, then you should not be confused about how to give him the love he's looking for. If you're confused, if you're worried, if you ain't in this and you're not settled inside your spirit that dwells in you, then you ain't giving him the love he's asking for, and he's not satisfied with it. By his knowledge shall my righteous servant justify many, for he shall bear their iniquities. 12. Therefore will I divide him a portion with the great, comma, and he shall divide the spoil with the strong, semicolon, because he hath poured out his soul unto death, colon, and he was numbered with the transgressors, semicolon. And he bare the sins of many, comma, Israel only, and made intercession for the transgressions. You need to marinate on that. The kaparat, the K-A-P-O-R-E-T, the kaparat, the covering. We don't deserve any other covering because we don't show the Father we love him enough. We show a whole lot of other things in this world, including men, women, children, and everything in between, a lot of high-level love, but we don't show it to the Most High. He barely gets mentioned. In the beginning of what we talk about in terms of doing what we call our praise to him, to the end of the lesson that we leave, hey, look, I'm just as guilty as anyone else, all right? not excluding myself. But we don't do it. We think that we know how much love we got to give the Father. We do. We think, oh, well, this is enough. I'm doing this and that's it. You won't become and get to at-one-ment with the Most High. Do you know atonement comes out, there's 136 instances in the Bible of atonement, right? The priests got 514 instances alone in terms of what they had to do from the Old Testament all the way up to here, right? You try to explain that the rest of the world that is not given the love, which is the law is the love, okay? And the law, the first part of the law, the first requirement of the law, the first thing in the law is to love the Father and don't love anything more than you love him. If you understood that, what that means in terms of the first commandment. When it says have no other God or no other power, that doesn't even explain the magnitude of what he's saying. He's saying you can't have any other love higher than the love that comes from that first law that goes directly and only to the Most High. We don't teach that. Heaven, we don't even teach the law to people how to do the law. Anybody teaching you how to do the day of at-one-ment? I mean, teaching you actually how to give the Father what he really is asking for in terms of at-one-ment, atonement. Has anyone actually ever really taught you how to do any other laws? Now, I remember I was watching Apostle Ramlan. He was teaching how to do some of the laws early on. Him and another bishop, a brother was with him. And I appreciate what he did because he was actually going through the process of explaining how to do this particular law he was explaining and maybe a couple others. Now, we know we're in captivity at this time and the Father has us here. But the laws that you can do, you should teach people how to do them. Because you know nobody knows how to do these laws. We tell them, go, you hear them on the streets and the highways and byways, which they're out there and they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're programmed to do it. They tell people you got to come back to the commandments, to the law, statutes, commandments. Now, how do you get a people, even the elect or the hopeful elect, to come back to the law, statutes, and commandments if they don't know how to do that? Will you just come back to just hearing them? You come back to just reading them? But you don't know how to actually do them. Now, there's a few they learn how to do and they teach you how to do in terms of the Sabbath and maybe some of the other holy days, the convocations and what have you, Passover. But there's other ones that you also can do that no one's bothering to teach you how to do them. So how are you going to come back to them if you can't do them? Because the Bible clearly says in Deuteronomy throughout multiple chapters, more than 250 times, that you have to do these commandments as well as know these commandments. Can't live in them if you can't do them. But again, we're going to get into some scripture. We're going to get into Leviticus because Leviticus is where we have the at-one-ment in the process of that we have to know and deal with and do. So I'm going to go ahead and read from Leviticus chapter 23, because that's a feast day period in time that we need to understand. Okay. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Jackie, I'm doing good. Got to be able to see right. Matter of fact, go right here. I can see it a lot clearer here on my Bible. And we're at 27, right? 26. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, also, on the 10th day of the 7th month, there shall be an at-one-ment or atonement. It shall be a holy convocation unto you, and ye shall afflict your souls and offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. Now, in that statement alone, very few people break down what it does for the Father. It always talks about what type of affliction you have to go through, what type of practice and ritual that you go through in terms of that convocation on you in the flesh here as a created entity, created for the pleasure of the Most High. And it talks about what you are supposed to do. Now, let me say this, and let me ask you a question. This is the Father centering this around what you're doing, what you are doing with your flesh, what you're doing with your carnal flesh, right? That will afflict your spirit. But what does it do for him when you do this practice? Does anyone ever talk to you about that? What does it do for you that does for him? Because aren't you doing it in honor and praise and worship of the Father? This is what it's about, right? Okay, let's talk a little bit about that. Also on the 10th day. Well, now, why the 10th day? 10 has an attribute towards, like, because I know I did a lesson on 10 in terms of 10,000 times, 10,000 times will show up in terms of the judgment seat of the Father in terms of what's coming forward when he cleanses this whole system in this whole world, right? And he talks about what tens will come, right? What tens of thousands of angels will come with Yahawashi. So 10 has a very significant meaning in terms of what the Father is looking to have happen and what he is expecting in return from what he sets in motion. So, and then on the 7th month, which of course 7 we know is complete, is spiritual completeness, or it is that complete process, right? There shall be a day of at-one-ment. So when the Father goes through the process of getting his satisfaction of sending forth the tens of 10,000 times 10,000s of what he sends as his representatives to clean things up in that 7th day, which is that he's finally gotten to the point where this is it. He's done with all that he has to have done, right? The prophecies are fulfilled, it's complete, and now he's going to have everything returned to him as at-one-ment. Everything will be atoned for. It'll be cleaned, it'll be covered. Like I said in lessons before, purified and cleansed, so all could be in the presence of Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. So when that 10th day and that 7th month is that complete process, brings the at-one-ment that the Father wants. Because what is the at-one-ment? Everything goes back to his perfect. Everything goes back to the way he set it up from the beginning. And there's not going to be any garage sale for any of the things that are here in this fallen state that you will incorporate in the new covenant, because you will be cleaned. You will not be using your own power that will not be regulated and managed by the Most High and Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. If you get any spiritual power, and if that is the case, it will be under strict orders and strict management. You're not going to be doing whatever you want to do with any kind of spiritual power. You will do what is required and prescribed by the Father and the Son, just like all the rest of the hosts of heaven, including the wicked side. Nobody's doing whatever they want to do with spiritual power. So get it straight. Back to what I'm saying. It shall be an holy convocation unto you. Means everybody's going to be involved in this process because it's a convocation. Oh, just like when you get there, there'll be priests. There's going to be order. There's going to be rank. But the Most High said all the men will be priests, of a priestly nature, of a priestly stature, of a priestly status. And in the Most High's priest, and in the priestly status and state and nature, you can't go off and do what you want with anything or anybody. Not like here. Holy convocation unto you. And ye shall afflict your souls and offer an offering made by fire unto Yahawah. Now, afflicting your souls here, as I said earlier, You're always afflicted. Tell me when you're not afflicted when you're here. I pray, praise, worship, and pray that I could ever have relief from the affliction that comes here, which at some point it subsides a little bit. But it never goes away while we're still here in the flesh. And anybody that can tell me less or tell me that it's not true, prove it. Come on the comment board, come on the lesson right now, and show me when you have relief from affliction while you are here serving the Most High Yahawah. Bahasham Yahawashi. Please show me now if you can tell me where you're not afflicted every day, every moment, because you are. So yes, you will afflict your soul. In other words, when he says here, and ye shall afflict your souls, he's asking you to recognize that you're not giving him a higher love. How my brother Bond say, woo! Let me say it again. Ye shall afflict your souls. You don't recognize you're not giving him a higher love if you don't understand that. Afflicting your souls, that's a sacrifice. What does the Most High say for sin? What is the sacrifice for sin? Blood. Somehow, some kind of way, blood's got to move. It's got to rush. It's got to cleanse. It's got to come out. It's got to move. Which we're going to get to the next one, which is an offering made by fire unto Yahawah. Our Father is a consuming fire. It tells you that in the scriptures. He is that Shekinah, glory. So the offering made by fire to him is another cleansing process. See, when does anybody ever tell you what does it do for the Father, other than the fact that you talking about what it's doing for you to fast and to cleanse, and you're doing this to your body? You really think he cares that much about these bodies? They can't go to heaven in the status that they're in. Flesh and blood can't inherit the kingdom of heaven. So therefore, you clearly know that the Most High is telling you the body ain't all that great. It's only a vessel that he uses to get the work done. 28, and ye shall do no work in that day, for it is a day of at-one-ment, to make an atonement or at-one-ment for you before Yahawah, your power. Now, let's talk about that. When you're in this day of atonement now, what are you supposed to do? Oh, well, I can't go to work. I can't do this. Listen, it's not talking just about what you do in your flesh, man. It's what you do spiritually in your mind. It's that when you're in the Day of Atonement, you're supposed to do what? Become at one with his what? His love, his law. His law is his word. You're going to be at one with that. That's what you're supposed to also be doing, okay? Not concerning yourself whether you can go out and go to work at JCPenney. It ain't got nothing to do with that. That's carnal. Yeah, you're fasting, but what the fasting that you're supposed to be doing when you're not taking in anything from a carnal perspective is taking in this right here. See? You're supposed to be taking in this. This is part of the food for your fasting. This is how you get at-one-ment. And in the process of going through that and getting this at-one-ment, you should be having a daily drink of praise, worship, and prayer. Drink it in. Drink in. Let the Father have that sweet savory, that sweet smell and savory. Why do you think the brothers have the smell and the incense and the essence when they're out there, and there's also when they do at Passover? Because he wants that smell, that smell of that scent of you using your love, of bringing that love to him, worshiping and praising him. That's what it's in. That's what you're supposed to be doing, man. That's how you get close to being in at one with him. The at-one-ment, the atonement is what you're talking about. And then he says here, 29, for whatsoever soul it be that shall not afflict in that same day, he shall be cut off from among the people. Why? Because one, if you're not willing to praise and worship him, and show him the level of love he's looking for, you need to be cut off, and you are cut off. That's why you don't know how to love him. And you're going to be cut off from the people because the Most High don't want that to spread. He don't want that toxic way of you man worshiping and worshiping idols and other stuff to spread among the people. See, what does it do for the Father? Why can't you get this part of it? Because he got you blocked, spiritually blocked, or if you don't get it. Cut off among the people. And whosoever soul it be that doeth any work in that same day, the same soul will I destroy from among the people. Meaning, if you go ahead and you are blocked and you don't understand that what he's looking for is a higher level of praise and worship because the Father's not getting it from us, he's going to do more to you. He'll take you back to the spirit world so you can have a personal conversation with Yahawashi. You hear what he said here. And whatsoever soul it be that doeth any work in that same day. In other words, if you go ahead and you work and worship your idols and you do it the wrong way, you know what happened when the ark almost fell, when David got it back from the Philistine, they didn't do right. They didn't do the work. They didn't do the work right, which was to love and know the Father and know that they said they had to put the right kind of staves on it. They had to secure it properly. They had it on a freaking ox cart. They knew the road was going to be bumpy. And when the ark got ready to fall, he touched it and the Most High electrocuted him right on the spot, killed him. Didn't fry a bit of his clothes up, but surely with all heaven, he was totally electrocuted. And David knew it. And think about that road when they took the ark back from the Philistines. Every 6-7 paces, they had to make a blood sacrifice. Can you imagine the bloody trail of animals that were following that ark and the buzzards and all kinds of birds of prey that was coming down to eat that stuff that they had discarded, that they didn't have used for the offering, all the way back to Jerusalem? So you think that what you do and the work you do and the little lessons that we do is enough? It's enough, right? To you. To me, do I think it's enough? No, I don't. That's what they were doing to get the ark back to Jerusalem. Every 6-7 paces they had to kill an animal and make a blood sacrifice. What level of love is the Father looking for here? You really think you're doing enough? If that's what they had to do, and he don't change when it comes to the way he needs his love, he wants his love higher, 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 higher. Atone. That's how you atone. You atone by giving him a higher love. If you're not giving him a higher love, you're not covering the Day of Atonement. You're not atoning for anything. We get afflicted every day and still being afflicted. 31, ye shall do no manner of work, it shall be a statute forever throughout your generation in all your dwellings. Meaning, you got to start teaching people to know that they've got to give a higher love to the Most High all the time. I know it's tough. I struggle with this every moment of every day. Things go through your mind. You think about other stuff that you're doing. You get all carnally bent out of shape. You know, the spirit wells up in you, then the spirit dwells and wells down. You know, it surpasses a little bit. It doesn't go away. If you're a man of the Lord, if you're a woman of the Lord, the spirit dwells in his children. Ain't no spirit jumping on nobody unless it's a wicked spirit. Bottom line, it dwells in you. Sometimes it wells up in you, and sometimes it just is kind of calm. And you need it to well up in that blood as long and as much as possible to show the Lord how much you love him. That's just the way it is. You shall do no manner of work, and it shall be a statute for forever throughout your generations and all your dwellings. In other words, he's trying to tell you, you have to find a way to pick up on the clues to love him higher and stronger and more significant than anything that you're doing or anything that you think that you're doing. Because if you think you're doing enough, that's when you know you're not doing enough. Soon as you think you're doing enough and you think you're satisfied with it, then he's not satisfied with you. Because that's pride, and that's arrogance, and that's not humility. It shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest, and ye shall afflict your souls in the 9th day of the month at evening. From evening unto evening shall ye celebrate your Sabbath. So you're celebrating the rest that you're giving the Father through your work in terms of trying to muster up as much love as you can give him because of what he did in terms of the love he brought to you by giving you his son, Yahawashi. He gave you his son, Yahawashi, before the foundation of the world because he loved you as a chosen people, as a chosen vessel. That's why there's 12 gates and 12 thrones for the 12 tribes of Israel in heaven. Do you understand that level of love he has there for you to do that? What love are you giving him in return? Oh, just enough that you think you cover and that's good enough? I don't know if we get it. That's what he's telling me to tell you. Let's break down some more scriptures to prove the point and get into it. And we're going to talk to some scriptures in the New Testament as well, but you know, we have to go here because it's important that we do it. Now, we did Leviticus, we did 53 in Isaiah, and of course I did Leviticus 23 to kick it off. So, all right, let's stay in Leviticus here for a minute. We got some more to talk about because there's a lot of things to talk about in Leviticus in terms of how much important. And this is the thing, shocking. The reason why the Father's having me emphasize this, and I said the Father's having me emphasize it, obviously it all goes through the eyes, ears, and the mouth, and the spirit that the Son, Yahawashi, is bringing in front of the Father. But you can best believe, beyond a shadow of doubt, that the Most High is right there behind Yahawashi, or in the presence of him in terms of the essence of who he is. And he's watching what's coming from you through Yahawashi that's supposed to be delivered to him or offered to him. And I'm gonna tell you something. What's happening in your life? Are you calm? Are you confused? Are you persevering? What are you doing? If you don't have any type of solitude in all of the affliction we're going through in terms of showing the Father the most love you can give him and muster him, then you know you got a problem with the communication that's going to him because he's looking for that praise and worship and you're not giving it. Because you just want to pray, but you don't want to praise. You want to pray, but you don't want to worship. They are three distinctive things. Okay, all right. All right, we in Leviticus chapter 4, and I'm gonna go down to my precepts. So starting at 20, and we're gonna talk about some of the things that were practiced and done during the time of AT-ONE-MENT in terms of these are the examples that the Father was giving you to try to give you the clues. These are what he tells me are his clues to how to love him. Okay, so when you listen to what I'm reading, don't take it only on a flesh or a carnal level perspective from a surface position in your spirituality. Look at it as a deeper spiritual meaning in reference to the love and the clues the Father's trying to give you to get back to him in terms of AT-ONE-MENT, atonement. Okay, let's listen. Okay, all right. Leviticus chapter 4, and then we'll hit 20, and then I'll just pop a couple of them right here while I'm over here. 20, and it shall Leviticus chapter 4 and verse 20. All right, and he shall do with the bullock as he did with the bullock for a sin offering. So shall he do with this, and the priest shall make an atonement for them, and it shall be forgiven them. So the priests at the time were charged with going in front of the Most High and presenting the sin and an offering to cover the sin, which means, Father, I love you so much that I am saying, please forgive me. And here's my offering of love so that you would forgive and show me continuous love and still have me in your good favor as best as possible, right? 26. Pop down there, and it says, and he shall burn all his fat upon the altar as the fat of the sacrifice of peace offering, and the priest shall make an atonement for him as concerning his sin, and it shall be forgiven him. So it's you get a partial atonement or wave. You get a pardon, so to speak, for a moment from the Most High Yahweh at that particular time for that act. Okay, 31. And he shall take away all the fat thereof, as the fat is taken away from off the sacrifice of peace offerings. And the priest shall burn it upon the altar for a sweet savor unto Yahweh. And the priest shall make an atonement for him, and it shall be forgiven him. Now, you notice I talked to you about that sweet savor before in reference to what is that sweet savor? The Most High is looking for us to perform the praise, worship, and the prayer through the prayer as well. And that's a sweet savor to him. That brings a sweet savor when you get your body moving and you musk up the flesh, and that smell from you doing what you're doing and you working it up, and that blood is rushing, and that's that type of sacrifice which is showing that love. You doing something. That's a move in the right direction. Okay, 35. And he shall take away all the fat thereof, as the fat of the lamb is taken away from the sacrifice of the peace offerings. And the priest shall burn them upon the altar according to all the offerings made by fire unto Yahweh. And the priest shall make an atonement for his sin that he hath committed, and he shall and it shall be forgiven him. You see, this resonates all the way back down to Yahawashi and the forgiveness that he's getting for the sins that he committed also at the same time, in the spirit of being Solomon during that period of time that Yahawashi had to perform. But I'm saying we got to understand this goes very much more deeper than just what we think in terms of our way of understanding, in terms of showing the Father the love and the AT-ONE-MENT to get back to our Creator, which is what we want to do, right? Leviticus chapter 5 and 6, go to 5. And it shall be, when he shall be guilty in one of these things, that he shall confess that he hath sinned in that thing. That was Leviticus chapter 5, and I had read 5, and then it says in 6, it says here, and he shall bring his trespass offering unto Yahweh for his sin which he hath sinned, a female from the flock, a lamb or a kid of goats for a sin offering, and the priest shall make an atonement for him concerning his sin. Now you notice he said which have sinned, a female from the flock, a lamb or a kid of a goat. So the Father is saying there's no area upon which you can escape or you can bypass the process of getting atonement for your sin and for the sin that you're in. So you need to go into it and know that you're showing him the love that's necessary, right? Okay, let's go to 10 in the same 5. And he shall offer the second for a burnt offering according to the manner, and the priest shall make an atonement for him for his sin which he hath sinned, and it shall be forgiven him. And then we go also to 13, and I'm gonna hit 16 and 18, so you know. And the priest shall make an atonement for him as touching his sin, that that he hath sinned in one of these, and it shall be forgiven him. And the remnant shall be the priest as a meat offering. Do you hear that? See that? This is why our circle of sacrifice is going to be exactly what it is. We are the offering. We are going to be the sacrifice. I heard Elder YAHAWAH talk about this no more than about 2 days ago. I listened to a lesson when he came right out and told you that these flesh bodies and everything that we're going through has to become more than just a living sacrifice, your reasonable service is going to become more than that. It's going to become more than that. And you need to understand that. Okay. And as 16, and he shall make amends for the harm that he hath done in the holy thing, and shall add the fifth part thereof, and give it unto the priest, and the priest shall make an atonement for him with the ram of trespass offering, and it shall be forgiven him. And what is that holy thing that we have done that we need a trespass offering for? Because we've turned away from the first love of the Most High. We've been following idolatrous practices, blaspheming his name, not using the sacred name, and sticking to it. Just all types of abominations that we've decided to participate in and act like that's part of who we are. And we're going to be blocked continuously by the Most High for this. All right, and then what was it? 18. And he shall bring a ram without blemish out of the flock with thy estimation for a trespass. Now check that out. Let me read that one again. And he shall bring a ram without blemish out of the flock with thy estimation. Now, why a ram out of the flock without blemish? Now, a ram would be a full-grown sheep, a big, strong sheep like Yahawashi, without blemish. Meaning he can't have no marks of impurity or imperfection like Yahawashi. With thy estimation. Why estimation? Because you don't know what's left other than what the prophetic process that was given to you. Watch. For a trespass offering unto the priest, and the priest shall make an atonement for him concerning his ignorance, wherein he erred, and wits it not, and it shall be forgiven him. See, the Most High is even allowing you to give an offering under your own ignorance of not knowing how to love him. You don't know how to love him. Not the way you think you're loving him. You say loving him is what? Coming back to the statute commandments of the Most High. You haven't been able to do that. You can come back and practice some of the righteous acts, but you can't come back to the level of love that the Most High spread when it came to all of the commandments and all of his word that he's brought forth. Not without the grace and mercy of Yahawashi, you can't even perform that. This is talking about Yahawashi. You hear it. He is that ram. He's that ram, that unblemished ram. You know it. You can see it. You know? Okay, I'm going to Revelation 6. I got 7. I got a precept from 7 I want to read, and then we're going to continue. Shlaki. Leviticus 7. I told you there's going to be in Leviticus. I don't know why it's got Revelation in my mind, but I guess the folks Most High saying we're going to be going there. I guess we will. Okay. Leviticus chapter 6 and verse 7. And the priest shall make an atonement for him before Yahweh, and it shall be forgiven him for anything of all that he hath done in trespassing therein. You see what I'm saying? And let me stop for a second here before I go to Leviticus chapter 7, verse 7. That the Most High says that we're going to become priests in the new covenant, in the new kingdom. Okay, let me talk about that for a second. There's a big difference in terms of the Most High's priest, holy priest, as opposed to this fallen state and the priests that are here that are wicked. And even though we are considered to be somewhat the similitude of the priest here that will be converted there, the righteousness that we have will not be controlled by ourselves. Let me say that again. The righteousness of you becoming part of the priesthood for eternity in the new covenant and the new kingdom, is not going to be a priesthood operation under your personal control. It will not be. You will not be able to go off. You will not be able to go off in the sense that nothing that is not of the same purified and cleansed nature of who you are as a priest in the new kingdom, in the new covenant, can you intermingle with or touch. You will not be able to defile yourself with anything that is not made of the same spiritual, righteous, cleansed, and purified attributes that you have been made over into. If it does not match up the same way, you can't touch it. You won't be programmed to touch it. You won't be able to touch it. You will not be able to perform anything that is reprobate of a nature. You can't touch anyone like that, because you won't be the one controlling it. The Most High controls all things, as always, and he will maintain that control. But it will be managed through his son, Yahawashi. So when the priests are cleaned up for eternity, only things that are cleaned up for eternity will you be able to be involved with. See, this is where if you don't have that level of love given to the Father at a higher level, you won't understand this. And you'll blend things with your own lust, and you're not getting that. You're going to be in order. Everything in heaven is going to be in complete, ultimate, complete order. Decent and order, beyond what you can imagine. And you will not be able to go off of that. Leviticus chapter 7 and verse 7. As the sin offering is, so is the trespass offering. There is one law for them. The priest that maketh atonement therewith shall have it. Read it again. For those spiritual rereads who still kind of retarded. No offense, take it what you got. Leviticus chapter 7, verse 7, as the sin offering is, so is the trespass offering. There is one law for them. The priest that maketh atonement therewith shall have it. Once this is completed in the new covenant, in the new kingdom, you can't do anything you just want to do. It ain't gonna be no, I'm gonna do whatever I want to do. No. None of the angels don't do what they want to do in heaven. Nothing the Most High made does whatever it's going to want to do. It's all under order. If you think I'm wrong, prove it. Prove me wrong then. Show me you're going to get spiritual power and whatever you think you're going to get, and you're going to do whatever the hell you want. Show me that you're not going to be in order under the Most High in Yahawashi. And the rank and the order goes right down the line. We're going now to Leviticus 10 and 17 was the next precept that I was given to give. Okay, so Leviticus 10 and 17, and it reads, wherefore have ye not eaten the sin offering in the holy place, seeing it is most holy, and Yahweh hath given it you to bear the iniquity of the congregation, to make atonement for them before Yahweh. Let me read it and give it to you. Wherefore have ye not eaten the sin offering in the holy place? Have you not been eating the manna of truth that has been given to you in accuracy, and sticking to it and giving it to the congregation, right? In the holy place, it is most holy, and Yahweh hath given it to you to bear the iniquity of the congregation, to make atonement for them before the Lord. Are you doing that? Now you think about it. You get in the mirror and see if you see the Mashiach. Get your ass in the mirror. What did Michael Jackson say? He said, I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm to change his ways. And no message could be any clearer. If you want to make a what? Take a look at yourself and what? Change to the Mashiach. This is why you don't understand how to love the Most High. Because you can't change. You won't change. You say you change, but you don't exude. You do not exude conversion. You don't. Think about it. You're rude. You're crude. You don't represent the Yahawashi. Yes, we're under affliction all the time, but do you have to look like you are under affliction every second, every moment of the day? Do you have to look like you stink? Affliction is all around us all the time, but the Most High still says you have to put your best foot forward and you have to finish the race. You have to strive to be in that perfection that he said his Father sent you to be in. Represent Bahasham Yahawashi with dignity and honor. Don't look like a damn derelict and doing dumb shit. Leviticus chapter 14. Starting at 19, and it reads, and the priest shall offer the sin offering and make an atonement for him that is to be cleansed from his uncleanness, and afterward shall kill the burnt offering. And read it again. And the priest shall offer a sin offering and make an atonement for him that is to be cleansed from his uncleanness. You see, I was just saying, I don't subscribe to, from the presence of the Most High that dwells in me, to look like I am homeless, and I don't want to dress up like some band leader, some purple people eater band leader. I don't want to dress up like some kind of crazy Power Ranger. No. Father didn't tell me, and it's not in my spirit to do that. But he did say that he wants things done decently and in order. I'm not going to wear my garment shifted all over to the side, hanging with stuff hanging off of it. Sackcloth is sackcloth. All of the materials and things we wear is really sackcloth. It's all still sackcloth, all right? But the bottom line is, do you have to look like a piece of crap? Really? Is that how you really want to represent the Most High, who is he is the epitome of beauty and everything that is beyond what we can imagine? Is that really how you, as a son, as a daughter, as a child of Yahawashi, as an Akim, as an Akwaf, is that the way you need to present yourself, really, to represent him? Does that represent clean and cleanness, as the scriptures say? You tell me. I'm just asking. That was 19. I'm going to give you 20. And the priest shall offer a burnt offering and the meat offering upon the altar, and the priest shall make an atonement for him, and he shall be clean. Clean inside and out. 29, same chapter. And the rest of the oil that is in the priest's hand, he shall put upon the head of him that is to be cleansed, to make an atonement for him before Yahawah. 31. Even such as he is able to get, the one for a sin offering and the other for a burnt offering, with the meat offering, and the priest shall make an atonement for him that is to be cleansed before Yahawah. You got to be cleansed before you get into the presence of the Most High. You got to be cleansed before you get into the presence of the Most High. I don't see why they don't get this. Oh, Father in heaven, Father in heaven. 53. But he shall let go the living bird out of the city into the open fields and make an atonement for the house, and it shall be clean. Why let go the living bird? A symbol of what? The spirit. Like when the dove descended upon Yahawashi after he was baptized by John the Baptist. He's going to let that dove go, just like Noah did when he let the dove go and say, go ahead and find the land and come back and let me know what's up. And he comes back with an olive branch. You know how long it takes for an olive tree to grow? The cleansing the Father did with the flood of Noah, that was his method of cleansing through water. The next one's coming through fire. How much of it do you need? How much of the fire do you want to feel? It's a good point. We're getting close to wrapping it up. We ain't got that much more. We're going to Leviticus chapter 15. I don't care if you're bored. Like I said before, if you don't like this lesson, if you don't want to hear what the Father is getting out of you performing your day, your life, your time of at-one-ment, atonement, then go somewhere else. I don't care if you don't like it. I don't care if you don't listen. I don't care if you try to deny or rebuke it. It's not. It's for the Father doing the work for him. If you get something out of it, then you're supposed to. If you don't, oh well, not my problem. Leviticus chapter 15 with verse 15 and then 30. And it reads, and the priest shall offer them the one for a sin offering and the other for a burnt offering, and the priest shall make an atonement for him before Yahawah for his issue. Manak always says, you got an issue, I got a tissue. Well, I ain't giving you a tissue. Just cry it out, I guess. 30, same chapter, and it reads, and the priest shall offer the one for a sin offering and the other for a burnt offering, and the priest shall make an atonement for her before the Lord for the issue of her uncleanness. So I know we get on our sisters. We always calling them all kinds of names. You know the names. I don't have to repeat it. But there's also sin offering, and there's praise, worship, and pray and show the Father love and send up some prayers for our sisters. Because I'm going to tell you something. Our sisters are going to be with us when we get into the new covenant, the new kingdom. Because, see, their reproach can be removed because they're not heathens. They are Israelite women, even though they're in a bad state, and even though there will be some that will cling to men to have their reproach removed when they go into the new covenant, the new kingdom. The reproach is being removed by Yahawashi through Yahawah. We men don't remove anybody's reproach. They cling on to you so that Yahawashi can remove the reproach. Because if we had the ability to remove the reproach, then we would be able to have the ability to remove it now. And we can't. Our women are doing some things, our men are doing some things, and we would love to be able to have the power to remove the reproach from the women and the women of the Lord, the Aquaf of the Lord. But we don't have that power. That power is granted to Yahawashi, Maybe the angels will be performing the process as well as that transition happens. But I don't see where anybody that's a heathen is getting any reproach removed. Because as far as I know, Esau and his female counterparts or his women, they're going into slavery, and then they're going to be diminished, and they're going to be expediently relieved from the earth. So don't count on hanging on any of them, because it ain't happening. He made vessels of wrath fitted for destruction, and a great portion of them, if not most, all of them, are the heathens, and Esau's number one on that ticket. And I'm telling you right now, if he's a vessel of wrath fitted for destruction, he's already fitted to be gotten out here and destroyed. So you can't hold on to none of those parts and none of that stuff. Leviticus chapter 16, and then we're gonna do a little bit more, and then we're gonna get out of this because Yahawashi and Washai told me to. Leviticus chapter 16, we want 17, and we're gonna go 17 and 18 and pick up 24, and then we're gonna get ready to close out. Leviticus chapter 16, verse 17, and there shall be no more man in the tabernacle of the congregation when he goeth in to make an atonement in the holy place, until he come out and have made an atonement for himself and for his household and for all the congregation of Israel. Now, you spiritual derelicts who think you got truth, get a hold of this one again, because that's why it's at the end of the lesson here. And I'm gonna read it again. And I'll read it slow for the rereads so they can pick up on it, okay? And there shall be no man in the tabernacle of the congregation when he goeth in to make an atonement in the holy place. I'll read it again. And there shall be no man in the tabernacle of the congregation when he goeth in to make an atonement at one-ment in the holy place. Why? Until he come out and have made an atonement for himself and for his household and for all the congregation of Israel. This is speaking to all of you who claim to be in the truth, and you don't want to do shit. You just want to say, well, you know, I'm going to sit around and wait and get my deliverance. You ain't going to worry about your family because you think all of a sudden, well, I'm covered, so they covered. Well, guess what? Is it are you sure? Are you sure? Because sometimes in households, there's some people who covered and they following Yahawashi and Yahawashi, and then there's some that are not. So what about if the children ain't covered because they being wicked, or they old enough of accountability that you know they still home, and let's say the wife is straight, but you not, or you straight and she not, or you straight, she is and the kids ain't, or you straight, the kids are and you not. Okay, so now the whole house for his household and for all the congregation, which means also if you are in the truth and you part of an organization or camp and you know well, I'm covered, well, I believe I'm in the so-and-so and the so-and-so, and you believe you've arrived, and then all of a sudden, you know, you ain't worried about nothing else, right? But you don't correct or go into things where people do the craziest stuff that ain't got nothing to do with the scriptures in their organizations. And you don't speak up and say nothing. Okay, so this precept is for all those that decide that they've already have arrived and made it. And there shall be no man in the tabernacle of the congregation when he goeth in to make an atonement in the holy place until he come out and have made an atonement for himself and for his household and for all the congregation of Israel that he prescribes and belongs to. Hello. (24) And he shall wash his flesh with water in the holy place, and put on his garments, and come forth and offer his burnt offering and the burnt offering of the people and make an atonement for himself and for the people. So, all you self-proclaimed prophets, that precept is for you, okay? He shall wash his flesh with water. And what does the word say? Washing of the word with what? With fire. Okay, you know the deal. In the holy place, and put on his garment. What kind of garment? A righteous garment. Not a t-shirt with a fringe on it. Not a purple band uniform with a whole bunch of Roman characteristics and Mason crap all over it. None of that. Right? And come forth and offer his burnt offering. What is the burnt offering? That's your sacrifice, which you're going to give more than just what you're doing. And the burnt offering of the people, and make an atonement for himself and for all the people. You left-hand leaders better figure it out, because I believe your blockage is showing. Just like your dirty garments are showing, your blockage is showing in a major way. Okay, we're going to get ready to close out in Numbers. I'm going to Numbers chapter 8. Okay. And I'm going to read 12 and 21, and that's going to be it for this lesson, because that's what the Most High told me to do. And I don't give a damn if you don't like it. Numbers chapter 8, verse 12, and it reads, and the Levites shall lay their hands upon the heads of the bullocks, and thou shalt offer the one for a sin offering and the other for a burnt offering unto the Lord, to make an atonement for the Levites. Now, the reason why he gave me that one is because there's a lot of individuals out here who are trying to act as though they know the law and they understand the law, and they're giving you prerequisites to what the law means and how it's this way and that way and a third. And primarily, they don't even understand that the law is the Father's love, and the love is the highest thing that he could give us, and we have to return that love in that way. So when you honor the law, which is all of his word, even the ones we don't have yet, this is how you move towards understanding the clues of providing a way to give him a higher love. I'll say that again. The law was given only to the chosen people of the Most High. Anyone else who comes at you in reference to the law, if they're not of the chosen people and it doesn't resonate in their spirit about this law and the fact that this law is the highest love that the Father gave only his chosen people, and we are to reciprocate. Reciprocation means give him back as best we can the love that he's given us by only giving us the law. This is the reciprocation that goes back to him that you have to try to do, okay? And this is what he's looking for in the way that you would understand him, but he does it through a series of clues. All of the different things that you go through are clues to get you on the path to bring you back to Yahawah through Yahawashi, to give him that first love and honor him in that way. But if you don't pick up on the clues, clearly you get abused and you don't find your way, and then you stay unclean, you don't get cleansed, and then you continue to wallow around in the pits of mediocrity. And this is what you do and how you become lost and blind. That's why the fullness of the Gentiles, meaning the scattered, their mindset is not right, because they don't understand how to love the Father and come back to him. And of course, they've not been trained or taught how to do it, because some of the teachers don't teach and train in that way. So this is what you have as a problem. So the Levites, being who they are, they've been given the law, and they were supposed to tell and teach and show us how to love the Father at the level the Father wants. And that's what being at one-ment means. That's the atonement, okay? And this is where we are. Now, let me go ahead and get down to 24 and finish this out, and then give you some time to marinate on this day of at-one-ment, which should be all the time. You should be trying to atone or become at one with the Father all the time because you're always afflicted. 24. Sloppy, 21, my bad. Forgive me, 21. The Father told me in the Spirit, maybe I'm supposed to read 24 too, so I'll probably go ahead and do that. But I'll read 21 and I'll end it. And the Levites were purified. I could really just stop right there because this is about what we need to get to. We need to be able to get to the point of purification, but you can't get to purification if you do not understand how to love the Father. Because if you understand how to love Yahawah, you will know that you got to go through Yahawashi, but you'll understand the process to get there. And the praise, worship, and prayer is there. You cannot be, he just told me that I'm going to keep saying it. 21, and the Levites were purified, and they washed their clothes, and Aaron offered them as an offering before Yahawah. And Aaron made an atonement for them to cleanse them. I think that you guys should, and everyone should read that over and over again and maybe take that precept there and somehow write it down and put it on you somewhere so you can continue to understand this because we all are supposed to become these priests and we would be converted by the Most High to that level. No matter what status in heaven you are, you'll still be under the priest and be a priest under the priest realm of participation and activity in heaven. So in 21, when he says, and the Levites were purified and they washed their clothes, and Aaron offered them as an offering before Yahawah. See, he's offering the priest as a sacrifice to Yahawah. And Aaron made an atonement for them to cleanse them. If you can't get this, then only thing I can say is the Most High's got you blocked from this. At-one-ment, atonement is more than you just fasting and not eating or drinking anything. It's got to be a point of returning the amount of love and as much as you can, the level of love to the Father for your purification and cleansing, which means you become at one with him and under the covering. Caparat, covering. Kolo Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rukakadash, Yahawah, Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Shlaki Yahawah, if I did not do what you prescribed, Kolo Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Barakatha Yahawah, for your mercy as I cry. Kolo Yahawah, Kolo Yahawah, Kolo Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. Abba, my Father, I atone as much as I wanna be at one with you. For your mercy, so I cry. Kolo Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. Water Yahawah, for upon the time. Kolo Yahawah, Bahasham. Yahawashi.